Welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transits, real talk in real time. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. And we'd love for you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, and what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us.
So whether you're joining us live or listening later, we're glad you're here.
Let's get into it. Okay, so today we are talking about the sun in gate 53 and the earth in gate 54. So I'm representing the sun in gate 53, and I'll be honest, the pressure was so much for me. I couldn't come up with anything. I was so like, I got to do this. I got to find this. And then I was like, you know what? This is really just the whole energy of it. Sometimes the pressure is so much to start something, but you don't really have clarity. So we just wait. And so maybe somewhere in this call, I'll have like a great visual come through of MGF Gate 53 is. But for now, I was just really looking forward to seeing how Jess showed up for Gate 54.
I have to admit, there was like a decision point. I was like, am I going like full out, like marrying Maiden, like bride here with this? Or am I going like runaway bride and I'm wearing like jogging outfits, like I'm out of here, right? Which end of this energy? And then I was like, okay, decision point. I was like, if I can find a way to make a veil, I'm in. Let's go.
Right?
So yes, found the veil. And I was like, okay, so this is the direction we're getting today.
And you know, isn't getting married sometimes the ultimate pressure to start something?
Yes, real it is.
I should have come as a bride as well, because that would have been the great Gate 53 energy as well. In fact, I really got married the first time in that sort of a vibe of like, oh, I gotta get this going. I gotta do something, okay, he asked me, it's time. I'm not, I need to get out of my house and I don't know how else to do it. And none of that was conscious, but it was all this pressure to start something new. And he asked me to marry him and was moving out of state. And so it was like, oh, I can either have a long distance boyfriend or I can get married. Okay.
I love it.
So anyway, so let's do you want to go ahead and jump right into things? And there's a lot going on today besides this sun and earth energy that I want to make sure we have time to talk about, because today is 7/7, which is a very potent day in astrology, and it's this the epic, the peak of the Sirius. I never feel if I'm saying it right. Sirius or Sirius? It's SIR.
I think it's Sirius. No, I don't know another word.
Sirius is a star, and then there's a asteroid called Sirius or something with a CER, and I can never remember how to pronounce what. Anyway, so this is the Sirius Gateway, and this is our spiritual sun. This star is in alignment with the sun, so it's this really intense spiritual day. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on too. Like we got channels activated by the moon and we got stuff. So yeah, let's get into talking about Gate 53. If you want to share your screen and tell everybody where both of these gates are on the route. So you know what that means.
Pressure, so much pressure, right? So we're back, we're in the root center in this transit again. So if we look over here, our sun, we've got gate 53, and that is the energy that Kathy's embodying, and that is beginnings. So 53 over here, we've got 53 linking to 42, which is growth, and that's the channel of maturation. Super interesting with the 53. I was just listening through Ra's keynotes, and he was saying how with this one, yes, there's that feeling of when you have an undefined route, that you have that not pressure to move something quickly just to get it done. But this one's actually can be a little bit more challenging if it's defined. You have a defined route and the 53, but you don't have the 42, which I noticed is you. You're like, yes. So later, as we're chatting, would love to hear about how that shows up for you. Um, excuse me. And then over here, we have gate 54, which is the marrying maiden. Also, again, in the root, this is where we're feeling that pressure, that drive, that pulse to move. And that is with gate 32, which is duration, and that makes a channel of transformation over here. So feeling that root pressure, noticing like, do I have an undefined root? Do I have a defined root? How is this showing up for me? So for me, I have a defined root. I don't normally have the 53, but noticing that right now, and I don't have the 52. So getting a little bit of a taste of what that's like for you. Did you want to talk about any of the other activations?
Yeah, let's just while we have it up here, talk about these are the 952 is activated right now, but that's by the moon. So that's only going to be for today. I think the moon is in gate 9 right now, right? Yeah.
Um,
So we've got this channel of concentration activated right now. And at the same time, we now have Mars in gate 64. So that's connecting with the south node in 47, giving us this heady energy of that Jess knows very well because she has this channel, and that is the channel of abstraction. So um, we're really feeling a lot of pressure to figure things out. But 6447 is abstract energy. It's not logical energy, right? So it's not about thinking to figure it out anyway. So really sitting with this pressure, this is a real test of radical self-trust. Can I wait to know what's clear to me, right? Can I trust that I'll know what I need to know when I need to know it? Is really a strong energy right now. We still have all these other gates here that are activated, that we're not going to get into all the specifics of, so everything really works together to have a little, story or theme to what we're experiencing right now. And so now we have this defined head and defined root pressure, right?
And just a reminder for people who aren't familiar, so gate 64 right here, 64, it's the gate of confusion. It's literally the gate of confusion. And so it's known as well as like before completion. So that's just like where you have all of these different aspects and you're just like, what am I doing with all of these things as you're sorting them out? And then the 47 that Kathy was talking about, which is our south node right now. And that's the gate of realization. And that's also known as like oppression. So that one is just like, oh, I've got all those pictures. I've got all these things. I'm going to start to realize and put them together and sort them out. And then it's going to start to make sense in that abstract channel.
Yeah. And so, right now with this added layer of this 7/7 portal, like this is a powerful time. And the time between now and 8/8, which is known as the Lion's Gate, is meant to be this really amazing time of spiritual growth and a great time for manifestation. And we might feel, even just hearing about that, we're like, ooh, what am I going to manifest? And we can feel all this pressure to start something, right? Gate 53, we feel this pressure to begin, to do something. I've got to do something. How do I relieve this pressure, right? And I see it all around me, people who are saying things like, I got to make a change. I got to do this. I need to go get a new job. I need to, yesterday I felt all this pressure, not, but it was really interesting because as I'm aware of it, I can be like, okay, is this something I've wanted to do? Okay, then I'm going to let it go because I don't need to do it just because I think I should. But like, if it's something I've wanted to do, then I can use that pressure as motivation, right? We can use that pressure to make some of the changes we need to make that we've maybe been, just kind of a little hesitant, a little bit too um, comfortable maybe to make those changes. So this pressure can act as a change. Now, for me, these two gates are my unconscious nodes. So these are the gates that my environment is based out of, and this is what Ra teaches is like the way the stage that I'm living my life on. So I'm living in this pressurized environment of um wanting, this need for material success in my south node, the 54, and then now this pressure to start something new as I move beyond in life. And I can see how that's played out um in everything in my life, because now I'm doing things that are coming from a less of a money focused way, right? Before it was always like, how can I be successful? And it wasn't even just money, it was just ambition in general, right? Um, so yeah, it's interesting, right? Because there's no, I mean, pressure sounds like it's a bad thing, but if sometimes if we didn't have pressure, we might not do anything, right?
Mm. Yeah, exactly. I love that. I just want to show real quick on the mandala.
Oh yeah.
Jessica. Giannis, and I'm glad you like my funny get up.
Little sound in there with
My marrying maiden. So just taking a look here real quick where we are. So the 54. So 53 down here in the mandala. And I think this just helps us to bring it into like that bigger picture of as we're moving through the whole wheel. So the 53, the beginning's down here, and then the 54 up here is our Earth. And this is the quarter of mutation, which is also very interesting because Kathy and I started this journey and would really like to take a moment to celebrate here. We started this journey when we were doing the Human Design New Year, which is closing out your new year according to the energy of the time, which is after the traditional human design, not human design, regular Gregorian calendar New Year. So normally New Year starts here in gate 38, which we just went through, right? The finder. So you notice that's not very a conducive energy for like closing out and starting something. So that energy of that 54 when we were going through that, so that's when the sun was in the 54. And I think that was like January, or it was early January, like 5th or 6th, somewhere there. And so the sun was in gate 54, and then the earth was in gate 53. And so now we've shifted, and now we're in the place where the earth is now in 54 and the sun is in 53, which is kind of like a cool nuance. And so what we contemplated there with the 54, the marrying maiden, was really this like looking to the future of like, who was there for you? Were you aligned with your ambitions? Like, what is the thing you're taking with you into your future that you're marrying? What is the thing that you are really committing to and getting married with that you want to take? Who are those people you want to take with you? What are those things, that ambition? And looking at your ambition and say, is my ambition underlined with my bigger purpose, the spiritual side? Because 54, like Kathy was speaking to, does have this level of like material success. It's mastering that material plane, but also as a path to that spiritual like enlightenment, that spiritual connection to get through there, that you get to do both. It's not just one or the other. It's both of them together. And it's also spoken about like this ladder, right? Like climbing this ladder, this ambition. And so noticing how that shows up. So I thought that was really kind of cool to notice that shift from that now as our grounding energy versus when it was there in the sun energy.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too when I was writing the transit report. I was like, "Oh, I think Jess and I have been doing this through this," but it wasn't transit talk then. It was when we were doing the Jess invited me to do this New Year, like she said. It was, I forget, what did you call it? Was there a name?
It was the Human Design New Year workshop.
Okay. And it was from January up until, the beginning of January up until the beginning of the actual Human Design New Year. And then we were like, this is so much fun. Let's just keep
Right.
doing it, right? Let's keep doing it and continue. So here we are. And now it's what, 6 months later, almost, right? Well, 6 months from when we did that. So half a year, this is our half year anniversary, I guess.
I know. Happy year anniversary. I do.
Actually, last year was, last week was the one for
Last week, but you know what? Yeah, that's so funny. And this is the perfect example. Like this is something right now that I'm like absolutely 100% like, yes, I'm marrying into this. Like, yes, I'm taking this forward. Yes, I love doing this. And that's that energy. But it's the grounding energy right now that we're looking at with that before.
Yeah. So, okay. Um, so like this gate 53 is really, it's interesting energy because I used to look at human design in this really kind of dogmatic way. And I would be like, okay, I have the energy to start things. I need to find somebody who has the energy to finish it. I need the other half of the channel to get things done. But I can start things. I can start things. I can start things. But it's different. It's this gate is the pressure to start things. And that pressure is not always meant to be acted on. And it's because it's not always yours to start, right? Just like when we get into the head, the ideas and thoughts that we have, that pressure to find the answers is really not always our, it's that inspiration that's in the head center is not always ours. So those pressures, part of it is learning to be comfortable, become comfortable, or just tolerate sitting in the pressure. And that's been a huge thing because my whole environment, both, as I said last week, my conscious nodes are the 39 and the 38. So, you know, the nodes are all about pressure for me. So it's been a thing where I've often used pressure to get things done. And I've been a person who, like, if there's something that needs to be done, I wait till I have to do it. Even if it's something I want to do, I notice that it isn't until it has to be done that I really, really feel the energy to do it. Like I need that pressure to get it done to be able to complete it. Um, which is really interesting. So, like for example, if I had a paper due when I was going to college, I could start it right at the beginning, but I could never complete it. I could not until that pressure was there at the end and I had to complete it. Then I could write a kick-ass paper. But otherwise, I would just sit with it and I would feel all this pressure and so much uncertainty of what to do with it. And that is something that caused a lot of shame in a lot of my life, to feel like there was something wrong with me because I could not just go in and do something. But I could always do it eventually and it would be really good, but it usually was late or right on coming in a wire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and feeling like so much compassion for that. And again, just listening to the keynotes where I was saying, he was like, every time I see someone has the 53, I make sure to like point out to them, like, you are a starter. You're here to start. That doesn't mean that you have the energy to continue or to finish. Maybe you're not a finisher, right? And that's okay. And really bringing to light that that energy is collected energy, right? And that note for collective is sharing. Like you're here as a beautiful part because so many people can't start, right? When you have an energy within you, you're like, can't everybody start? Isn't everybody like this? And it's like, no, for a lot of people, starting is where they really struggle. So seeing how beautiful that energy is within you and knowing that it's part of that collective process, that you get to start it. And that's your beautiful contribution to it. Also just wanted to celebrate Valerie real quick and say hi. Um, she said, she said, happy half year anniversary. I think I've seen everyone. Oh my goodness, Valerie, freaking love you. They're so meaningful to me. That you're gonna make me that's very special. Thank
we
you.
appreciate you, Valerie. One of these times you can come on with us again. I know you did
That's
one.
amazing. Just makes such a beautiful thank you. And then she also shared, same, I need the pressure to get it done. Yes. It's a manifestor thing too, even without 53. Absolutely. And so not to say that like just people with 53 have this, right? This shows up in like other parts of your chart where there's that initiating that maybe not follow through, but like this is one that carries that energy as well.
Yeah, and just to be clear, for people who are watching on YouTube, are you taking like online proposals or are you
with a ring like this. This is the standard.
Right. That was funny because when we were, Jess said, "Do you want to do 53 or 54?" She said, she said that she doesn't have either, and I have both. And what do I want to do? And I was like, "Oh, well, I got to let her be the marrying maiden because she's right. So she's the one, right?" So I didn't even tell you. I just knew that it was also it was the obvious costume, right?
Wasn't it? There was a part of me though that was like, I'm not going to wear like a wedding outfit. I'm going to wear the runaway bride. There was that moment.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
The rebel.
So do we want to go through oh, Leslie's here. Leslie, your birthday's soon then. When is it? She's right angle cross of penetration. Took me a long time to understand how to leverage the unconscious sun 53 and the unconscious earth 54. So penetration is 88 degrees out, basically. So, okay, we had a few people when we were talking about birthdays who said they had birthdays this week too. And for some reason, I was thinking they were penetration. Maybe they were just saying, I don't know. I'm confused. Um, so, all right. So, do you want to talk about the lines in gate 53 and then we'll move on to 54?
Yes, I was just looking up whose birthday was, if it was anybody's birthday today. So happy birthday to all our July birthdays, celebrating you. Hope you're all having a wonderful birthday month.
Yeah, I don't think it was anybody who said theirs was today. There were a couple that said they were this week. And so,
Yeah, on the 10th. And then on the 9th is Jackson. Yeah. It's Rita's birthday. It was just Rita's. Happy birthday. Mark was the 3rd. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, all the July birthdays. We love all of you. Okay, let's see. So you want to go through the gates? Do you want to do 53 first, or do you want to
sure.
do
Let's do 53 lines really quick, and then we'll move totally into the gate 54 energy.
Let's see.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Okay. So 53, line 1 is accumulation.
Yeah. And so Chaitan calls that one commencing. Great progress comes from well-considered beginnings. You grow in life by refining your abilities to start new ventures. So, and remember too, this one, the shadow of gate 53 is this immaturity with this fickle or solemn sort of variabilities there, right? And the key is expansion. That's the gift, right? And then that takes us to superabundance. So I didn't say those things. I just want to clarify that. So commencing is having that, well considered beginnings, in that foundational waiting. Okay, line 2.
Line 2 is momentum.
Success breeds success. Fortune smiles. The sense of security in your growth. Growth can be easy and shared as long as you remain alert in your own inner guidance. So you notice all of these are inner things, not outward pressure.
So line 3 is practicality.
Scrutinizing. Watch your steps when engaging in all new endeavors. Be clear that you cannot always predict the effects that your developments have on others. So, yeah. It's interesting because scrutinizing feels a little bit mental to me. So, and practicality. So, like just looking at it and being aware of what's going to possibly happen, that third line energy of experimenting and trying things. So, okay. Line 4.
Line is assuredness.
Being agile, finding your balance in all new situations. When proceeding under pressure, you rely on your inner stability or succumb to stress. So, line 4, that's dealing with others. So this adaptability to being able to adjust, right? But yet still staying true to your own inner sense of what's ready to be started. Okay, line 5.
Line 5, assertion.
Okay. Advancing steadily. In all expansion, you're going to be pressured from the outside. Stay true to your own measure of growth or become overwhelmed by life's pressure. So, that fifth line gets all those projections, right? And that can really feel like a lot of pressure. But that's not what it's about. It's about knowing your own clarity.
Mhm.
Okay, line 6.
Line 6 is phasing.
Bringing benefit, the endless and natural gift of service to others. In your own growth, you emanate service, an example that spreads to others' lives. Mm. And I should add my nodes are in line 5. So that projected kind of pressure from the outside. That's been my life.
Yeah. Assertion.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So now we move over to gate 54.
54. Just because you did the gene keys, so 54's gene keys are greed, and then aspiration, and then ascension.
Right.
And just also wanted to note with this one, Ra spoke to how if you have that undefined root and you have the 54, this can sometimes manifest as like where people are over ambitious. And again, that not self of that undefined root where you're like, oh, there's this pressure. I need to move this pressure just to move it, rather than sitting in the pressure and feeling it.
Yeah, that's where the greedy comes in, and that greed can show up as either unambitious, completely, shut down, or this really greedy, as you said. And I will also say that this, I don't know that traditional human design teaches this, but Karen Curry Parker teaches the business circuit begins with gate 54, and it goes through this channel is where it starts. So this is the pressure where we start the business circuit.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So gate 54, line 1 is influence.
okay. And I want to add that this ambition is not always about money. It's also a spiritual ambition too. There can be this real ambition to be more, right? So gate or line 1 is being confident, even in lowly situations, be true to yourself. You complete everything in your life by associating with those who lend their support.
Line 2 is discretion.
Resolving, holding firmly to your vision of transformation, having a clear perception of what you consider right or feeling entitled to special assistance.
Line 3 is covert interaction.
Covert.
Ooh. Undercover.
That sounds sneaky. Okay, so Chaitan refers to it as being prudent. Compromising yourself as possible through indiscretions. You patiently avoid shortcuts to transformation or grasp every chance and find great trials. So, yeah, that's very third line, right? Again.
Yeah. Breaking bonds, trial and error. Yep.
Right?
Yep. So line 4 is enlightenment or endarkenment.
Okay. And Chaitan calls it illuminating, acknowledging that existence has her plans for us. Transformation in its purest form, when you realize that what you want is not necessarily worth having, and then finding how to live with that. You find equanimity and the balance between the earth and spirit planes. Each planet has its own particular interface in this line. I'm not sure what that means. I didn't read that beforehand. And it's any idea? What do you think he means by own particular interface in these lines?
I'm going to actually read the full.
That's in Chaitan's book, but I noticed that Ra's Ravi Ching does not say anything about that. It actually says the moon is in exalted and Venus is in detriment, and Chaitan doesn't have that. So maybe we'll look at
Here in this most mystical of positions, there is neither an exaltation nor a detriment, for in truth they are the same. When you come to this fourth line, it is the only line that is intrinsically different from the traditional I Ching. That is, in its pure nature, obviously, there is no description. Okay. At the time of the discovery of Uranus, that was when the 54.4, line 4, went through its transformation. So we're dealing with something that is just a couple of hundred years old. One of the ways to look at this fourth line is to recognize something about the nature of what we have been looking at in terms of how ambition actually functions. The marrying maiden, this ability to rise up, to have this drive and ambition, is always conditioned by a decline of drive and ambition of others in order for them to rise up. In the externalization of this line lies perhaps the ability to see that one is doing in the world what one would like the world to do for oneself. Do for the totality what you hope the totality will do for you. There is this need to recognize that enlightenment and darkenment is not about achieving that for oneself. If one tries to achieve that for others, that is how one finds it. So we have a world filled with priests trying to lead others to spiritual doors so that they can find it. Built in this, in the fourth line, is this recognition that enlightenment, or whatever these terms mean, this deep spiritual process is not about ourselves. It is not our enlightenment or endarkenment. This comes elsewhere. This is about what is possible for the totality, because anyone who has this line cannot benefit from it unless they are benefiting from whoever can get it through them.
Interesting. And I made a mistake. I was looking at gate 53 still in this book when I said it was exalted or whatever. Rod does have it in here, and he says, here is the most mystical of positions. There's neither an exaltation nor a detriment, for in truth they are the same. And so there is an exalted and there are two of those little sigma.
Yeah.
There is no, it says alpha and omega. They're both the end and the beginning, it says. So there's no, each planet will manifest this energy uniquely with absolutely no guarantee that its effects will even be perceived. However, the potential is always there, the fuel for transformation at its purest level, no polarity, no specific planetary accent. It's interesting that what you said was about Uranus, because today Uranus moved into Gemini for the first time in 84 years or something like that. So in all of our lifetimes. And that's a big, big shift. And so and that we're having the full moon will be in gate 54, line 4 on the 10th. During this time where Aries, Uranus has just moved into Gemini, and within, if not that day, maybe within a day of that, Uranus moves into gate 20, which is all about being present, right?
And in the now,
Lots of big, big things going on this week.
Yeah. Oh, Jonathan asks, so the 54-4 must incorporate others. So this is really beautiful here, what this says. It says it's so important to understand that at the core of communal or tribal spirituality, so because this is tribal, is the recognition that there is no reward unless you are serving others. And we have a lot of that in our tribal religion. So it's about serving others. So by serving others, by doing this for others, that's how you hit your own. And it's interesting because on the other side, so you have the 54, then on the other side, you have the 19, and that's my son. And I deeply feel that. So 19 is like wanting, it's like feeling the needs of others. And for me, there's like such a beautiful satisfaction and connection in bringing forth and helping others like meet their needs and like find their needs and fulfill those. Like that for me, the fulfillment I get through that as well, while also noticing like what are my needs. And the 54, the other thing that's really kind of cool about 54 is it is a projected, right? That channel's projected. So there's also this piece of like ambition where there's this recognition piece where others coming in, like recognizing your ambition, recognizing and going, oh, I see that thing in you as a projected channel. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So let's see.
Line 5.
Yes.
Okay, so line 5 is magnanimity.
Finding spirituality, holding high principles in all aspects of your life. You are available to assist the needs of the moment and maintain stability for transformation. This is my South Node. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a lot of pressure. I've always felt this pressure to find this meaning in life, this kind of like, so it's not just the material success, it's the how can I do it in a meaningful way, right? Um, so okay. Line 6.
Line 6 is selectivity.
Being politically correct, watchful of your purpose and sincerity. You energize those interactions that are essential or become compelled to try to do the right thing. So, yeah, it's a lot of pressure out there to do the right thing, right?
Mhm.
And it's interesting because I will now I feel like I want to look and see. There's a couple people I'm thinking of where I'm like, I wonder if they have that 54.6 because I know a couple people who put a lot of pressure on themselves, like crazy amount of pressure to always do the right thing. Okay, so Lisa, we didn't ask you. Do you have either of these energies in your chart defined?
I do not.
No.
Um, but what I resonated with was what you said about starting things
Mm-hmm.
when the pressure is on.
Yeah.
And I used to worry about that a lot because I could always, so you said you turn out great work. I turn out good enough and I'm happy. I am happy with that. And I used to be like, oh my God, I'm procrastinating. Why can't I do this? Why can't I just start when they give it to me? Da, 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 da. And then I'd start and I went, but is it really a problem?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. And
Right.
if I know that I'm always going to get it done, it's not a problem. Why do I need to worry twice
Right.
about that thing
Yeah.
that I'm going to do
Right.
anyway? It's like all of a sudden, all the circuits just start firing up. It's like, okay, when I get it, I'm like, okay, you'll do it the day before. I'm getting better at moving it back when I do it, as in like, I now don't aim for the buzzer. I aim for 12 hours before the buzzer, but it took me a long time to get
Yeah.
to that point. And I realized that there is a biting point to where it's perfect for me and it doesn't feel like pressure. It just feels like a bit of tension.
Right.
The pressure was overwhelming for me because I kept berating myself as so I'm trying to do two things at the same time. I'm trying to self-flagellate and do something creative at the same time, which was ridiculous. And now I'm like, this is just me. Because people will say, oh, whenever somebody says to me, um, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, sure. By when? No hurry. Whenever I say, if you don't give me a date, I'm never going to do it. Well, please give me a date. So they'll give me a date. I find I'm better with stuff that I like.
Sure.
With stuff that I like doing. Because, you know, the it's like my ADHD and my human design, they all intermingle together, right? And if there's something I love doing, then I want to start it right away. And I can look up and 12 hours have passed in the time that I'm doing something. But if I don't like doing it, I've started to realize with things like, because what I really don't like doing is housework. I hate housework. I just hate it. But when I look at it that I'm contributing to the well-being of the home, I look at it in a completely different way. It then doesn't become a chore to me. And I also realize that I can't do that with everything in my life. There's some things that are just so fucking boring. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I don't want to know. And I do it. And I do these things when they need to be done. And not. I was listening to The Pulse. Richard Rudd's,
Mhm.
and when he was talking about the Matrix, and once you realize that, based, these are probably not his words, but this is what I interpreted it, that the outside world is not real, then you can stop calibrating yourself to it and start going internally more. And I went, yeah, that's one of the things that happened when I stopped watching the news,
Yeah.
because I completely stopped myself with the outside, that particular outside bit. And the way I look at it is that if it's something really important, it'll turn up on Facebook or Instagram for me, right? Because it does mean that I miss things like, and I'm not trying to be flippant here, but I live in the UK. I missed the floods in Texas until people were talking about particular things.
Yeah.
But it's like me knowing about that doesn't affect me. Me knowing about coming floods in Texas, bad
Right.
weather here, yes. So I do a local sort of station check once a day for
Yeah.
things, but I don't calibrate myself in the way that I used to the
Yeah.
outside world unless I have an external deadline, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So here's one thing that I would ask you is, what if that deadline comes and you still don't want to do it?
Oh, I do it.
You do?
Like I never have a problem doing it. If I, there will come things and it will be like the day. I'll give you a perfect example. It happens every single time.
I'm just wondering because do you ever allow your guess what I'm asking? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I'm asking is do you ever allow yourself to just say, "Okay, there's a reason I don't want to do this, and so I'm going to honor that and not do it." Or
No, because I figure out what is mine to do in the first place. So if I take something on, then I'm going to do it because I go through processes before I get to the things that I have to do or the things that are mine to do. So let's take the have to out of it. But the things that are mine to do. I used to do things that I didn't want to do all the time that weren't even my things to do. And then I used to get really mad about having to do them. But I don't do that anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
If it's mine, yes. If I make the promise, yes, I'll do it. If
Mhm.
I don't, and then if you come to the things that I have no control over, like when the estate agent or the landlord wants to come in and do a check on the flat, right? To make sure that they do 6 monthly checks to make sure that everything is okay. I have no control over that except for the date that they
Mhm.
come. So they suggest dates. I always make it the last date, the furthest away one. I promise myself that a week before I'm going to clean this place from top to bottom. What happens is 24 hours before I go mental and do as much as I can and then go to sleep and then get up early the next morning and then finish off the rest and then say, oh my God, I have a clean house now.
You have a defined root and a defined sacral?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is defined except for my head and my spleen.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Mm.
So, um, yeah, because I know it's funny because I was really in a cleaning mode yesterday too. I was telling Jess we were gonna chat, and I was like, I am like I spent 4 hours probably deep cleaning my, master bathroom because I did the thing where I like, I've got a nice big surround around my bathtub with like all these different doodads. I took all the things off and cleaned all the things and took the stuff out of baskets here and reorganized the baskets and, got up on the ladder to where that weird shelf is, that you can't reach. like literally, and I've got 3 big mirrors in my bathroom. Like I'm trying, you can spend 2 hours just trying to get the streaks out. And then today in the sunlight, I'm like, huh. I mean, it was sunny yesterday, but it was afternoon, so it was a different light. So,
Yeah.
but to me, it was not a pressure to do it. It was, the weirdest thing, because the day before I woke up and literally, like, when I opened my eyes, something in my head said, clean your bathroom today.
Mhm.
I was like, that's weird. And then I was watching a reel or something. There's this guy I like, and I think you might have said you watch him too, Lisa, the little Asian feng shui guy on YouTube. Are you the one who said you watch him? I forget his name. Something modern. I forget modern something. I don't know, but he's funny, and he's always like, just do it, fix it. He tells you all the time the stuff that's wrong with the chi in your home, and he'll be like, no, fix it. Right? It's kind of like
Him.
I just
I need him.
right. And so I happened to watch something that talked about the energy in your bathroom and how it like impacts all this stuff in your home and in your life. And so last week I had felt this strong energy, and I gutted my office. Like it was a feng shui article, and I gutted it, like took everything that wasn't big and bulky out and started over again and like put it back. Pretty much everything back here stayed the same, um, but really just doing those things relieved so much pressure. Like, I feel so much less pressure in my office now having done this refresh, right? I got rid of the old, stale, stagnant energy. Um, I went and I did my little bells in the corners, and before I put stuff in, and it just literally there's a whole lightness in here that wasn't here before. And so now that really gave me this different motivation to clean other things in, not from a place of I need to do this, but in a place of I want to do this because I want to feel this way, right? So, yeah, like if you can reframe the pressure and take away the should do, and that's the thing that I'm really realizing is all the things that I say I should do, I don't, it doesn't bring joy. It doesn't bring,
Well, it's a tick box thing.
I,
It's like it's another thing on the list.
so then
It's
just I ask myself, yeah, but who says I should? Do I want to do this? And does that doesn't mean that I'm excited about it necessarily, but there are times where I think, oh, I'm tired. I got to write this transit report because the transit's changing in the morning, and I forgot it was happening tonight. Blah blah blah, whatever. And then I'm like, I have to do this. I'm like, no, I don't have to do it. I want to do it. I committed to doing this, and it's something I want to do. So I'm not going to let myself get in the energy that makes it feel like pressure. I'm just going to do it. Right. So if you could take yourself out of that energy that feels like pressure to start something and just do it, then, it feels different. And it's really interesting how I felt all this pressure to figure out a cool way to represent this energy. And then I was like, I don't have any clarity on this. I feel like by showing up and not doing anything, I'm kind of representing this energy, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't do anything different because I didn't have clarity on what it was.
Yeah. Not moving and doing it just to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. And the most beautiful example of that too. And Kathy has been such a huge like permission in my life because I used to be like, I said this thing, I have to do this thing. I was writing the email for our chain for the karma clearing, for the karma by design. And I was like, I am just feeling so stuck in this. And so I was working on like the second email first. And Kathy was just like, just wondering, like, why are you doing the second one first? And I was like, I can't even remember what I said to you. Something along the lines like, I'm struggling with this.
You said the first one feels really big and I'm not ready.
Yeah, like right now, I didn't have it. And it was so funny because Kathy was like, I'm in this beautiful momentum right now. Like, I'm moving and like, why don't I just do this? And she wrote the most beautiful, perfect, like, it was the perfect email. But, I was sitting there in this, like, I have to do this email. I said, I'm going to do the email. Kathy's doing this. I'm doing the email. But it was so perfect and so easy and so beautiful what came out of her because she was in that right energy. And, had I written that email in that energy, it would have been icky, right? When you're writing and doing something just to do it. And that's why I was like, I can't do it right now because that energy's just not there for it. And so, yeah, that was just like such a cool moment of that exact like pressure and you being like, feels great for me right now. And I've definitely noticed there's a distinction for me with this pressure where sometimes I feel this pressure and I'm avoiding something. It's actually that I'm avoiding doing it. And that's a different energy than just waiting for the right moment. That because I have the defined route and it's very distinctly, I'm like sitting doing something, it's like, boom, do this thing now. And it's like, move now. There's that pulse for that movement. But I always have to ask myself, am I avoiding this? Is this something I'm actually like actively going like, I'm not looking at this, or am I allowing it? And that distinction. And then also that piece of like, you're talking about chores. I hate chores. I hate doing chores. Oh my goodness, like cleaning the dishes. I used to actually, so I don't know if you've seen these frowny things that you stick on your face. I had to stick them on my face when I cleaned the dishes because I was so mad I had to clean dishes. I would like frown while I was cleaning the dishes.
What are
Because
they pull your face up so you don't get the lines? Is that what it
it's
is?
like duct tape for your face. You wet these things. It's supposed to be like you're supposed to put like your face stuff on and then like wear it so it holds your face. But for me, I was like, I'm going to do this. So I stopped frowning. I hated that I was so angry doing the dishes. And so the way I stopped myself from like actually you can't physically frown. It like holds your face in place. So I put these things on my face and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, why am I so angry that I'm cleaning these dishes? And so for me, changing that energy and what I do now is music. I am never washing dishes or like cleaning the kitchen without like doing some kind of music, some kind of dance so that I can incorporate fun, like some kind of fun into this activity that I really don't like doing. And even the kids have the broom, but then they're dancing with the broom more than they're like cleaning with the broom. And I'm like, if this is how we get through it, amazing. Because, coming from that place of like, I literally had to put things on my face so I wasn't frowning, like that energy was horrible. Um, so just finding ways to add like a little bit of joy into whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, and then sometimes one of the things that's been really, liberating is to realize that sometimes it's okay to just not do it. Even the things that, like, maybe we've committed to doing, if there's a real resistance in your body, I mean, like, think about the people who I saw this video of this woman. Do you remember that plane that crashed recently in India? Um, there was a video I saw of a woman in the airport seeing her mother who had missed that flight and been rerouted onto another flight. And this woman seeing her mother and just like the like emotional joy and just like scream, the like hug. And you think, what happened that and how much was she beating herself up for missing that flight, right? We just don't know why things happen the way they do. And sometimes our body knows that something's, I'm not meant to write this email right now because maybe the people who need to read it need to be in a different energy. And that energy is going to come in a little later this evening. I'm not meant to and we can use that as an excuse to not do anything, and then we can get really, really stuck. So I'm not saying that, but to really not anytime we get in the energy where we're beating ourselves up for not doing something, it's not helpful energy. If we feel something needs to be done, how can we reframe it to where it's fun, right? It's dancing, it's um or like I like to think of it as, blessing my house, even though I don't really like the word blessing, but like really loving my house. I think you said that too, Lisa, right? Like, didn't you say something about that reframe? And that's, when you really think about the chi, I think it was Leslie. I don't know if she's still watching. She was watching earlier, but she posted something on the first where she was blowing cinnamon through her front door, her beginning of the month ritual, which that's said to be a thing where you blow that across your threshold.
yeah.
Or some people blow it onto the front door. But where you can do these things where you're not just cleaning your house, you're inviting good, healthy chi to move and getting rid of the stagnant chi in the corners and all of that stuff. Chi is this life force energy. So, and yeah, there's a lot of really, really strong energy this week. And it might it might wind up where for some of us, there's so much happening right now with the Schumann resonance. I always try to call it. My daughter's like, "Is that an apartment building?" Because I always say residence instead of. Do you know what it is? I don't know where is that, and I'm like, no. Schumann resonance is the vibrations of the earth, and they're monitored by some major organization. I forget who. But and you can see it, and they were off the charts crazy, this weekend, like, I think it was for the 4th and the 5th, maybe, and it was intense energy that was really opening our heart. There was a lot of, like, stuff that would be activating our root chakra, and a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to, like, I love to listen to Lee Harris. I don't know if you ever listen to him, and, Brenda Gregory, is that her name? Gregory? Uh I'm blanking on if that's her first name, but she's Linda Gregg. Do you know who I'm talking about? She's in the UK. She's an astrologist. She does astrology, and she's just immensely intelligent. Like, she knows all this history and the mythologies of different things, and I just love listening to her. So the two of them had a broadcast together, and they were talking about how um, there are all these upgrades coming in, these light codes coming in, these DNA upgrades. So that stuff is making a lot of people feel a lot of physical things because our body is upgrading and it's letting us know what we need to heal so that we can forward in this new way. So one of the things that we might be feeling pressure about right now is, oh, how can I take care of my body better? And I'm feeling how can I take care of my home better? How can I take care of my body better? None of those should be icky, punishing things. They should be like, you know, how can I step into this with more joy? Right? Pam Gregory. Yes, Lisa. That's her name. Thank you. She's fabulous. You listen to her ever? No. Did you Google it for me? Is that what you did?
Line one, what am I going to do? You mentioned something I'm interested.
You Googled it.
I
Yep.
Google it. And
Yes.
so
Love you.
the Schumann resonance is making me wondering why I cannot stop sleeping.
Oh,
Okay. I
okay.
I am so tired all the time now. I take naps during the day, and I'm not usually a nap during the day person. Oh, I mean the weather here today is fine, but the weather here has been really, really hot, right, over the past 2 weeks. Hot enough that you don't want to move because we don't have air conditioning here, and I'm just like I noticed that I have no energy to do anything, and I just looked up the Schumann resonance because I follow um the God, I just had it. Where is it? The energetic alchemist as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
There's
Right.
always one thing, and it's just like fucking hell. Excuse my French. It is really off the charts at the moment, and I'm like,
It's intense. So,
yes,
a lot of people feeling various physical things. So, and it's not to say that it's what's causing them, it's bringing them to our attention so that we can move that energy in a more healthy way and we can find the way to do things. But, just really looking at what we can do differently to honor this vehicle that is taking us through this earthly experience, right? So,
And
anyway,
you said something that really resonated with me. What's coming up to be healed?
yeah.
And for me, when I think, root, like you're saying, root chakra too, that's like about that safety. That's about that grounding. And I definitely feel like in my life right now, around my home, like creating that safety and that good feeling, that frequency, that resonance, like in my home and
Right.
like within myself, within my home, my like body home, within like my relationships and starting to like open up. And it's interesting as I'm finding this safety and I feel like in all parts of me, it's almost like this feeling of like this exhale. It's
Right.
like things are starting to come up that are ready now to be healed and ready to be like looked at and loved. And that's been a really beautiful experience.
Well, we want to make sure we're dealing with these things as they come up because I think it's next Sunday or maybe Saturday night. I don't remember exactly. But it's in the next transit. Saturn's going to go retrograde. And when this Saturn stations retrograde, um, like it's going to feel like a mini Saturn return for a lot of people, is what I've been hearing said based on the placements of it. And then you've also got this Uranus stuff that's going on with Uranus retrograde. I mean, not, yeah, Uranus is going retrograde soon. And, right, it went into Gemini, and I think that's not for a couple months, though, I don't think. But it moves into Gemini, and then it's moving into this, gate 20 energy. And it's really asking us to, as we shift from this gate 8 energy into gate 20, to really be present with who we are, the real us, the thing that makes us weird, right? Uranus is all about embracing those weird things. And it's one of those things where if you are still feeling trapped in these stories of who you should be, and acting from a place of what you should do rather than who you really are, um, life's going to keep getting harder until you stop.
Mm.
So you can act on these lessons, quote lessons is maybe the wrong word, but you can act now of your own free will, or it'll the universe will start conspiring to make you have to do it.
Mm.
So
Also, just time wise, if you think we're about like halfway through the year, just doing a check in, like, how have the last 6 months been, right?
yeah.
Where do I want to
Full
be
moon,
in the next 6 months?
we didn't even talk about the full moon on, the 10th.
Yeah.
What are you ready to let go of?
It's gonna be a big one.
Right? Let it go and move on, because otherwise things are gonna be breaking down in harder ways for you. And
Mm.
nothing that's ever I think it was, I have my little Sunday routine of I always listen to Tanaz from Forever Conscious and Kirsty Gallagher, who is a astrologer, and I love they both just have short little things, and it's kind of become my Sunday morning routine. But Kirsty Gallagher is beautiful, and she always inspires so much. And she said, "Nothing that is ever really yours will fall away." So
Yeah.
don't be afraid that, like so many times we're afraid, if I make these big changes, am I going to lose the people I love and that love me? It's kind of like the little bird in the hand, right? Let it, if you love something, set it free. Open your hand. You can't hold on to a bird like this forever, right? Let it fly away. It'll come back or it won't, but you can't just, cling on it. So I don't know. That's not really the bird in the hand analogy, but I realized as soon as I started to say it, I was getting my analogies confused. So, okay. Any other closing thoughts before we wrap this up? It's going to be a crazy, wild week, and I'm kind of excited for it.
Love it.
Any, nope. All right, guys. Peace out, everybody.